that.
I'm not talking
And it's
about
like,
that.
no, I'm trying to answer the dot. I'm trying to answer the dot. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
At the
Let me
beginning
rock.
of this
Let me
video,
rock.
I said,
You wanted me on here. I'm here. All right. Now.
Hey guys, this is Hope Said It, back with another Hope Said It Uncut video for you. Right now, you have like I always say, a rare sighting. It's my husband, Brandon, because when I did the survey, if not 100%, 98% of you guys said, oh, I want marriage, topics and things like that. So I took that to heart, and I actually did a blog post this week about the worst marriage advice I have received. And now he's over here. I'm going to add some input about the worst marriage advice that he has received as well. So we're just going to get into it. I'm not going to touch a lot on the ones that I already talked about, because you should be subscribed to my blog post at hopesaidit.com. Some of the worst marriage advice. First of all, the background of us. We've been married for 10 years.
Yeah, you got it right.
I just feel like I've been talking a lot and you just been...
It just started.
Okay. Anyways, we've been married for 10 years. Been through, the normal ebbs and flows of marriage, and we've heard a lot of advice. We've seen a lot of things, and I think we just found out kind of what worked for us, and hopefully it will help you kind of find out what works for your relationship. But just know, why? What are you doing?
I'm sitting here looking at the camera, smiling, trying to look pleasant.
Just know that the foundation of everything we talk about, I mean, we're biblical, so anything we talk about is Bible based. So just wanting to put that out there, just in case you're like, why do you do this? It's biblical for the most part. If it's not in the Bible, then we just work on what our relationship is. So number one that I had is do what makes you happy. Let me let you talk, since I've been talking this whole time.
Why don't you introduce the topic? Do what makes you happy. What does that mean exactly?
Do what makes you happy. Like, do what, like the advice people give you. Do what makes you happy. What do you feel about do what makes you happy?
I mean, it's cool, but what makes you happy. You're gonna put food on the table and take care of the household. If that ain't the case, then you just need to suck that up.
Okay, so I didn't even think of it like that. I was just thinking of like more, people going to a girls trip and they're just like, okay, do what makes you happy.
I mean, obviously our perspective comes from one where we have 3 boys, and just me and my DNA is to make sure this household has everything it needs to function and operate every single day. And generally I'm trying to do that without having to be like, hey, Hope, I need you to go do XYZ, or hey, remember this, or whatever. It's like, bro, I'm just gonna take care of it. So if doing what makes you happy is gonna deflect or take away from what everybody else in the household needs for this thing to actually function cohesively, then I'm like, nah, man, you just gonna have to deal with that, because that's just part of life. Like, you ain't gonna be able to do everything you want to do. Everything that makes you happy in life, you're not gonna be able to do. There's folks who want to go out there and get drunk every day. You know what? It might make you happy, but it's gonna kill you eventually. So you can't do it. I'm just saying. So it's just morbid. Yeah, well, hey, it is what it is. Like, I'm just saying, like, you can't do that. Now, if you ain't got no kids and it's just you and your spouse or whatever, do what makes you happy. All right, then, well, within reason. You know what I'm saying? You got some folks out there, celebs. I know there's a little story a while back about a dude and his wife was taking a girls trip, gonna be gone for like a month, right? That might make her happy. But me as a husband, I'm be like, so you going for a month on a girls trip? Like, what girls trip takes a whole month?
Okay, let me interject. Just letting you know. Yes, I don't have a problem with anything you said. I just want to make it clear that also, self-care is important. So just don't pour out, because he kind of errs on the side of, I'm just gonna run myself ragged. So just know that self-care is very important too. You don't want to self-care to the detriment of everybody in your family, but just know that you do need that time, because you can't pour out of an empty vessel.
Self-care does not include being an absentee parent or spouse.
Thank you for those words. Number 2, to keep a man, you have to. Now, I've heard so many variations of this, whether it's to keep a man, you have to feed him, you have to sleep with him a lot, you have to, just be at his beck and call, all that stuff. But what I've known is that, like, to keep a man, he has to be kept. He has to want to be kept. Like, I don't know any other way to say that. You see people in real life who've done everything. Oh, I cooked, I cleaned, I did this. I was basically his housemaid and still got cheated on, still got divorced, So I don't know. I just feel like, do what you need to do. But at the end of the day, cheating is a choice. So you can't do anything about it if you're going to cheat.
Well, the question wasn't, we gonna go cheat.
To
What was the
keep a
question?
man, you have to. So to
Just
keep,
checking. I'm just making
as
sure that
in
we're
the
sticking to the
man will
topic.
leave if
I'm
you
just saying
don't.
before you was all airing on the, hey guys, let's self care. So like, all right, let's air on the,
gosh.
hey, this ain't like some cheating debate. Like
Okay,
that's
to keep-
obvious.
but-
But to keep a man, that is to keep a man. I mean, it depends on what comes after that dot dot dot. Because this is like the advice little deal, right? So it's like what comes after that dot dot dot. If you're gonna say to keep a man, you must whatever. It's like that's probably what works for you and your situation. Because some people, to keep a man, you must allow him to go frolic and come back when he's ready. That might work for their situation. They might be into some little other stuff. I'm just saying, like, I'm literally speaking to what's going on in the world today. Right? They might be into some weird stuff like that. And it's like, no, I'm trying to answer the dot dot dot. I'm trying to answer the dot dot dot. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Let me rock. Let me rock.
I said,
you wanted me on here. I'm here. All right. Now, there might be some folks that's into some stuff and you like, hey, yeah, dog trying to come through. And it's like, nah, we don't operate like that. Cool. Then other people might be like, well, to keep him in, you must cook and clean for him every day. And there might be some other people where it's like, well, that's not how we operate in our house. So I'm saying it is to keep your spouse happy, or to keep your spouse, I should say, because it's not your job to keep them happy. That's another thing. That's true. But to keep your spouse, that is literally an agreement, whether said or unsaid, between you and said party. Okay. Like me and you have some understandable, like, non-negotiables. If somebody cheats, steps out, does something wild, that the relationship is over with. Like, that's it. Period. Ain't no marriage counseling. Like,
I literally started this by saying we do it on a biblical foundation, and here you are like,
we do. But hey, man, like, there's some things where you just can't back. Like, no, I can't. You over here like, no, like, keep it a buck. If I was a step out, you'd be out of here. And you done said this. See, yo, man, don't let her get on here that crazy to y'all. Like, there are certain things that we all understand. Like, don't matter. Hey,
but
man.
you also know that you don't know until you're in that situation. That Mary lady, she probably would have thought, oh yes, I'm leaving. But now they reconciled. Now they go on tour together, so man, I know. I'm just saying, guys, man, I don't want people to watch this and be like, well, he cheated. You're right. I'm going.
See, I don't even try to put people's names out there, but look, I can only go based off of what I personally believe and know about me. And it's going to be like, hey, I'm going to pray that I can peacefully lead this relationship if Shawty step out. Go ahead.
Y'all going. So I also heard the advice that, a man needs to do these chores or whatever, and a woman needs to do these chores. As long as you have that together, then you'll be a harmonious household.
I co-sign to that.
I literally, bad advice. I
know it's bad, but I mean, I'm giving my opinion, right? Like that would, so full transparency. She asked me like, what are some little bad advice things I done got or whatever. That wasn't on my list. So therefore, you're asking my opinion of said thing.
Okay, let me clarify. Okay, so some people, I like to say traditional, but I am a working mom, but I do the cooking and the cleaning and all that stuff. And
traditional don't mean you don't work, do it?
You just don't start talking about that on YouTube. People are like, I'm a housewife. I'm the real traditional.
Well, that's why they're in the comments. Tell them to get their own channel.
Okay, thank you so much. Anyways, so yes, that's just a thing. That's just a thing to where, people think you have to cook and clean. If you're the woman, you have to do the lawn and garbage or something,
trash, yeah.
If you're the man. Do I subscribe to that? I think you need to have defined roles. This one can't cook, so that's why I cook. But if he were a cook, then I'd be like, well, duh, that's you. And even with dishes or something, if he sees it piled up, he might take over, So I don't think it's a set thing to where it's just like, the dishes are piling up. It's your, not like that. You chip in and help. And if the trash is full, I'll take it out sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the only things where it's like, yo, she ain't doing that. She ain't cutting no grass.
If I had to, I would. Just be
she
clear.
Ain't cutting no grass.
He never asked me to.
And she ain't cutting no grass. And I guess it's fine if we're going to say if I have to. I cook if I have to, but I know it ain't going to be much good. Just like if she cut grass, it's probably ain't going to be that great. So it's like there's certain things where it's like, look, we just know the other is much better and much more adept at taking care of that particular situation or that particular thing. And only in, what they little thing, break glass for emergency, that's when we step in. But in general, the other things like taking out the trash, giving the kids baths, taking the dog out, all that, some of the other stuff, that's just kind of like hey, one of us kind of is predominant in that particular role, but the other takes over kind of whenever need be. So
the next point we have of bad marriage advice is never go to bed angry. Now, I only say this because, people say, oh, the Bible says don't let the sun go down on your anger or whatever. But a lot of times that's paraphrased wrong. That's misquoted from other things. And it's just taken out of context. When you read the Bible, you have to know, the context of the whole thing. So I don't want people to think I gotta rate, this happened and oh crap, it's 11:30. Wake up. I gotta fix it before I go to sleep. That's not how it is. It's just don't do anything stupid with your anger that will cause you to sin. Because sometimes we do need a break. We need to just be like, you know what? It's a wrap for tonight. It's actually best if I don't talk and we don't resolve this. And maybe I need the night for either God to talk to me in my sleep or for me to just wake up and have time to be like, okay, was I tripping? Was he tripping? Let's try this again with a calm spirit.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Nah, you know what I'm saying? Just be like, look, we could talk all night, but kid gotta get up in the morning, so gotta go to bed. Yeah, eventually you got to dip that in the bud, and we're just gonna deal with that the next day.
This is another reason why it doesn't work for us. I'm the night owl, and he is the early riser. He gets up at like 4 a.m. I go to sleep at sometimes 1, 2 a.m. So that's why that wouldn't work for us, because he's already trying to go to bed where I'm like doing task number 3 for the day. So the last one of my bad advice was about having weekly date nights. And I heard this first when I was, I don't know, what was I, 15, 16, because I was babysitting. And that was like the number one advice this one mom who I babysat for said.
She's still married?
Yeah. But come to find out, she had depression though. Yes. Okay. But she had depression. I didn't know that. I later found out she had depression. So it's like, oh, you need that in your marriage, but don't make that a mandate in everybody else's marriage. I don't suffer from that, but at the same time, I don't feel like we need a mandated weekly. No, I think we do a good job of finding time throughout the day to kind of check in. Maybe.
Yeah. Weekly date night. I don't. Granted, you know what I'm saying? We've been together since college. So we was together when we was like all the way out, flat broke. Like, we was lit to go back when McDonald's actually had a dollar menu. We would go up there and go ham. You know what I'm saying? Come back with the bag full, you know what I'm saying, on the dollar menu. Or like, we get paid and we like, yo, we eating Chipotle tonight. Oh, Friday night Chipotle. That's a big old thing. Like, Friday night Chipotle, hey man, go get that drink too. You know what I'm saying? Don't even worry about that. I got you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we splurging. And so I think because of those, I'm not gonna call them humble beginnings, because they weren't like humble, they were just normal.
Yeah.
College type days. That a weekly date night was never like a thing, nor do we like feel like we really needed it. Plus a lot of you're more of a homebody than me, but we're also not people who are like trying to be out and about in crowds and all that kind of stuff like that. Plus, like, I hate, like, you go to a date night just selfishly, and then a week later you look at it and you like, man, that $60 could have came in handy right now. But I'd have spent that on the date night.
We think about that a lot too.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I could
night. Like, did we have?
Yeah, I could have used that bread somewhere else, man. You know
and
what
we have 3 kids, so you got to think of more.
They always got something. Yeah. They always got something. So the weekly date night is cool. I'm not gonna say it's bad advice. I'm not gonna say it's a must need either. To each his own type situation, because honestly, you could do a date night at the crib. Some people might say that's whack. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Netflix and chill was born off of date nights at the crib. So, whatever.
Thank you very much. At least we agree on that one.
For sure.
So now we're going on to Brandon's list that you guys did not hear about in the blog. And the first one he had, do you want to say it?
Go ahead. You tee it up.
Toss it up to you.
Tee it up.
Happy wife, and he's been saying that since I known him. He said this. It's not a new thing. Happy wife, happy life. He hates that phrase. Why do you hate that phrase?
It's so self-serving. So self-serving. You can't tell me we're supposed to be equally yoked and all this other kind of stuff like that, and then all of a sudden say, oh, no, happy wife, happy life. So it's like, so if I have issues, if I'm sad, depressed, if I'm angry, if I'm not fully enjoying our situation of what we have going on within our marriage and how everything is kind of set up or how everything is working or whatever the case may be, I'm supposed to roll with it because you know what I'm saying, you rocking with it is good for you. Nah, to me, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely stupid. to me, it's like, no, like, granted, saying everybody has seen the quote as far as it's not my job to make you happy, right? So when I hear happy wife, happy life, I feel like part of that is like, no, the burden's on you to make sure she's happy and has everything she needs and wants for nothing. And then at the end of all that, hey, bro, you just, hey, get over it. And I'm like, nah, that makes literally no sense whatsoever.
So what do you think the phrase should be?
What do I think the phrase should be? I'm not sure what the phrase should be. I could come up with something right now, then I'd probably watch this later and be like, damn, I missed a good opportunity right there. I should have used that one. If anything, much like our relationship and much like I truly believe a marriage should be, there is some type of meeting of the minds in the middle. Now, I will say, I was listening to something the other day, and it is true. A marriage rarely is going to be 50-50. Rarely is it going to be 50-50. Yeah. I'll give an example of us from our dating days to like now. Man, early on when we first started, no matter of fact, we were like best friends.
Yeah.
Right? We were in that phase where it's like we ain't dating, but we kind of is. So if like I see you out there with somebody, it's like, who
That's
that is?
A whole nother topic,
that kind of thing.
But yes.
But we was right there. But back then, like, your boy was broke. You know what I'm saying? I was just in college. I was broke. I worked at Champs. I ain't had no monies. And she used to let me drive her car. You know what I'm saying? I throw a little gas in there when I could, but hey man, I send that thing back on E sometimes. But she would let me, you know what I'm saying? She was taking me to work and doing all this, right? She was the one carrying the brunt of the load in the relationship at that time. And then there was a time when it was very heavily on me to where it's like, nah, Brandon, you kind of just paying everything, et cetera. And this obviously once we done graduated college and got careers and everything like that. And then now, it is closer to more of a 50-50 situation now. You know what I'm saying?
But it literally can fluctuate throughout the day. Not even if you're talking about financially, just what you have to do. Sometimes it's just because of your proximity, here's what you have to do. Because of your schedule today, here's what, we're doing. So it's always a juggling act. I think sometimes we can go to bed and be like, they did way more than me today, So.
But I guess I say all that to say that, like, you got to find that happy medium between both of you parties. So our medium at various points in our relationship over our timeline, it changed. But at the end of the day, both of us were happy with the arrangement, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, any person in a relationship would be happy if the arrangement was, I get what I want and you just get what you need.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, there's got to be some type of give and take.
And there is, like, because, like, as you add kids, as you do different things, like we got married kind of early, not child bride early, but we got married kind of early. So I didn't have my master's, but then as I was pregnant with my second kid and married, then I got my master's, so there's just a lot of different things as you navigate life together, some sacrifices that you have to make. So you do have to give and take a lot for that. The second piece of advice that Brandon said he received that's bad is he's like so anti-woman right now, but she's always right.
She's always right. That's kind of similar to the happy wife, happy life, where it's like she's always right. Then you're saying,
you know how people say, even if she's wrong, she's right.
You literally just told me she was wrong.
Even if she's wrong, she's right.
You just told me she was wrong.
Because you don't want any problems.
You just told me she was wrong. You can't tell me if she's wrong, she's right. That makes no sense. That's literally the antithesis of what you would teach your kids. You know what I'm saying? Just like Tupac said it one time about, if I did something that was wrong, but I thought it was right, is it still wrong? Yeah, it's still wrong. But I understand your thought process of thinking like what I did wasn't wrong, because I didn't understand it as being wrong. And that's why you live, you grow, you know better, you do better. So her being wrong, you need to let her know, like, no, you're wrong. There's a loving and a respectful way to do that, but it's like, you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're wrong.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's just facts, though. That's just facts. No different than if I was in the wrong. It's like, nah, B, you wrong. Because you can't tell me on one hand, hey, mister, you're wrong. I'm the wife, so I'm going to tell you, and you need to fix it. And on the other hand, I'm like, hey, babe, that wasn't it. Can you fix that? Right? Because as men, which women get this too as well, but as men, because obviously, especially black men, being the protectors of black women, or supposed to be that, some of them is goofy, but being the protectors of black women, we're raised with the idea of you need to be very delicate with black women. Now, I believe the word delicate could be triggering to some women, so I understand. But as far as just being sensitive and tapped into their emotion is what you're really trying to say. So that's cool. But you can't say do that and on the other side teach the woman or teach your daughter, hey, don't worry about him. He'll be all right. Just do what you got to do. Cuss him out, tear him up, tell him he's wrong, etc. It's like, nah, this ain't Real Housewives. We don't do that. You know what I'm saying? There's again a mutual respect at a base level of any relationship that must be had. If you two can't respect one another, that relationship is doomed from before it even starts.
I think that when we first got together, and that was kind of the benefit of knowing each other 1st, we really ironed out, before we got married, we ironed out those kinks already. Like I was a certain way and he was a certain way. And so there were a lot of quirks where I was like, yeah, I really do not like that. And he absolutely would be like, yeah, don't do that again. You know?
Sure. Facts.
Why?
I was agreeing with you.
Yeah, but anyways, so he would do that and I would do that. So now I know, okay, here's how we, operate. So no, I'm not always right. Not always, just majority.
Just leave it at that. You're not always right. That's all you had to do. See, just leave it at that. You're not always right. That's cool.
That's why
they could have assumed, oh, she's probably majority right. They could assume she's majority right. They're telling, I mean, I might get some fans out there too. People... it'll tell him. You know what I'm saying? If you fan Brandon,
oh no,
put that in the comment.
We're not doing that.
After you like and subscribe, go ahead, drop that in the comment. Team Brandon.
Do the number 2.
Nah, no number 2, because drop Team Brandon. That's it. You know what?
If we get comment that says Team Brandon, I'm gonna have issues.
If we get 100 Team Brandons in the comment, I will jump on here again.
You're not gonna get.
That means you have to share it with your friends, and we need to get this Team Brandon clicking up in the comments.
Okay, anyway.
So do that.
Are you ready for the next one?
Carry on.
Okay, so now we're going to the kids. Number 1 advice, marriage advice, that you said was bad is that kids help you live longer.
Oh yeah, that's definitely wrong. For sure. Because just the anatomy of the body, being able to get proper sleep, nutrition is what allows you to live longer. The body has time to repair itself. You know what I'm saying? Growth. Like we make sure your kids get sleeps and naps and stuff for growth, and they eat properly for, their body to get the nutrients it needs. But that doesn't happen when you have kids, because you basically have to do everything after they're done doing whatever thing they want to do.
Legit.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? You got a kid, like our oldest, he likes to get up at 5:30 in the morning. That's just what he wakes up. Now, he doesn't come bother us, but the minute a door cracks, like I sneak out in the morning on the weekends because I don't want him to come down and be like, hey, Dad, can I watch TV? Right? But he's getting up at 5:30, and then, 9 o'clock rolls around, p.m., and then they all mad that they got to go to bed. And it's like, so when am I supposed to sleep? Now, granted, they're kids. They don't like understand the relative time and everything like that. They're just looking at it like, I don't want to go to bed yet. But we're looking at it like, all right, bet. So I'm supposed to get up at 5 a.m., be with you all the way through until whenever you feel like going to sleep. And then I'm supposed to go to sleep and then wake up again. And then, of course, throughout this whole time that this is going on, you're feeding them and all that stuff. Lord knows you ain't really trying to. If you're going to cook a meal, everybody about to eat that meal. Period. You know what I'm saying? And the kids ain't finna eat Brussels sprouts. They ain't finna be eating my green beans and my sweet potatoes and all that stuff. Maybe in small batches, but it's so small that it's a waste of your time to even make it for them. Right? So that's why I'm like, yo, you're going to lose all of that. Like I told people.
This is horrible.
I'm just saying it's horrible advice.
Plug for kids.
Like I mean, the kids are great, but I'm just saying like you it takes a while to get to that point. Like I got a partner of mine. He had a kid and I told him he was a huge CrossFitter, go all the time. And I was like, hey, bro, you should kill all that, because when the kid gets here, it might not happen within the first few months because your wife is going to be with the kid, all that stuff. But after, as that kid starts to be able to get bottle fed and whatever, and your wife's kind of like, all right, I need a little break, etc. Yeah, them dad pounds going to kick on. They're going to hit hard. So you ain't even going to notice. They just going to pop up on you. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, kids are great and everything, but there's a certain point to where it's like, all right, bet. Now you can get into a better routine. Like now our kids are old enough to where now it's kind of being like, okay, like I don't have to sit hand and foot on you. They're getting into a better routine. They're eating more versatile types of foods. Our youngest, he loves roasted broccoli or whatever to the core, like it's crazy. My middle one like salmon, which is wild. Don't know where the heck that came from. And our oldest, he dibbles and dabbles in like salads and stuff. So, I mean, there's different things you can do for them, But again, I just named you 3 different food items, and we're not gonna make every single one of them every single night for them to eat. So, like, yeah, man, kids, yo, it require it's a whole
And it
another
doesn't
career.
mend a marriage, you know,
Nah,
it doesn't
nah,
bond you. If anything,
nah.
if you don't have a strong
It's gonna rip
foundation,
it.
that stress is gonna rip it because
Mm-hmm.
that adds like, are we on the same page with discipline? Are we on the same page with, you know, how they spend their time? Are we on the same page with money? You know,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just a
Give me
lot.
a
It can
break.
be a lot of stress.
Let me take a break real quick.
Go.
My leg is like all the way asleep. I can't even feel it.
So the last bit of bad advice that you added to this is
Mhm.
that love cures all. Now, what exactly did you mean by that being bad advice?
Because they act like just because you love one another, everything is gonna work out. Love ain't enough. Love ain't enough to keep a relationship together. Because if love was enough to keep a relationship together, then what they say, 50% of them, when 50% of divorces wouldn't end because of financial reasons. Because your love would have carried you through that. You know what I'm saying? Your love would have carried you through being broke and rich at the same time, but it didn't. So that it's just not reasonable. You have people that weren't even married that are just best friends, and I'm positive they loved each other as best friends or whatever, and they ain't best friends again. They ain't best friends no more over what? Something usually minute and small that ultimately was really nothing. So love ain't enough. There has to be more. There has to be something else. Because also too, while marriage, I'm not gonna say is a quote unquote contract, there is some understanding and security that comes with being married from the other party, right? So us being together and married and our situation is like, I bet I love him, cool. But also he's providing me some security of like he's taking care of home. He's great with our kids. He's going to make sure that we're always provided for, etc. Me, on the other hand, from you, it's like, all right, bet. I know that she's always going to have my back. I know that she's always going to be an amazing mother to our children. I know that she's going to provide and always look out for us health wise to make sure we're getting everything we need. Like there's some other things that go into that. And then what happens is once you start to fall off from those different points that you originally were expecting, like, hey, I thought you kind of did this and you ain't doing this no more. So if you ain't gonna do this, then like I love you, but what's the point? You know what I'm saying? No different than we all have friends and partners and people we grew up with that we love them and we love them from a distance because they no longer serve either a purpose in our lives that they originally served or we no longer need that thing that they originally provided us with, right? So because of that, for whatever reason, we've become distant from them. We still love them. We still probably hang with them and talk to them here and there, but the interaction is nowhere near as constant and as intentional as it originally was. And that's the same thing with a marriage. Like if your wife or your husband or whatever you into no longer is providing for you in the way that they're supposed to based off of y'all's spoken or unspoken agreement, then you're gonna say, okay, I love you, but like this isn't serving me anymore. Maybe it's time for to move on.
So, on the foundation of Christ, I would say that you would need love, trust, and commitment. You know,
Okay, we can rock with
like
that.
at least you obviously you still need the love, but I mean, trust is huge,
Of course.
so huge. And obviously commitment because you're not always gonna have great days. Some days it's gonna be like, "This my life, golly." But you're committed to being married. You're committed to that covenant that you're in. So that's that. Anything else you wanted to add?
Make sure you like and subscribe.
Oh my gosh.
Get 100 team Brandons in the comment, and I will be back on here. Matter of fact, you can even go ahead and give me your email, baby.
Hope said it at gmail.com.
Hope said it at gmail.com. You can even write in to say, hey, we want to hear Team Brandon talk about
Oh my
this.
gosh.
So that when we get matter of fact, we ain't gonna make it 100. Give me like 20. Give me like 20 Team Brandons, and then we'll come back with another little ditty. You know what I'm saying? Get it in.
Or, you know, Team Hope if you want to. Like, hello, this is Hope said it.
Too late. Your tag is way far at the
Okay.
end. You know what I'm saying? they man, you know YouTube, they might be done dropped off the video by now. So go ahead, Team Brandon. The 20 of them. Like, subscribe,
okay,
share, spam message boards with all this good Hope said itness.
Like I said, this is Hope said it. Marriage, motherhood.
Go ahead, baby.
This is Hope said it. Marriage, motherhood, hair, and life. So this is the marriage topic. I don't know if my guest is gonna come back for another.
I need 20.
For another
20
time. We have another topic is the other topics, you know, going on because, you know, whether you want to get married or you don't, or you're in a marriage and you just, want regular people advice who are like-minded, we're here.
I mean, you're here. I need about 20 Team Brandons.
Okay, so guys, thank you so much. I'll have another video next week, but obviously I'm on social media at Hope Said It everywhere. So just let me know what you thought of the video. Add other bad advice that you've received or anything else in the comments below. Thank you guys. Bye.
Team Brando. Still recording.
Oh my gosh. That's why you look like a psychopath when you